Hey man, here's a truth that many don't understand until it's too late. Sometimes, the most impactful move you can make is the one where you do absolutely nothing at all. No words, no messages, no explanations, no apologies, no desperate pleas. Just complete silence. And the key here is that this silence isn't born out of anger or frustration. It's born from a place of clarity, strength, and understanding of your own worth. Here's the thing. Most guys don't realize how much they've given until they have already overextended themselves. They pour out their time, energy, and attention, thinking that it's what keeps them in her world. But what they don't realize is that while their presence may seem powerful, their absence can be even more dangerous. Dangerous, not in the sense of harm, but in the way it challenges everything she thought she understood about the relationship, about you, and about herself. When you're always there, always available, always saying the right things, always responding immediately, she becomes accustomed to your presence. It becomes predictable, like background noise she barely notices. But the second you remove that constant, when you step back and become silent, the entire dynamic shifts. The comfort she once had with you being around starts to unravel. The control she thought she held over you slips away, and suddenly, the situation isn't so secure anymore. This is the moment when everything she thought she knew about you begins to crack. Your absence isn't just a void, it's a powerful force. It forces her to confront things she may have been avoiding. It forces her to rethink her assumptions, her feelings, and the way she views your connection. And that's when everything changes. Because here's the deeper truth. The real power doesn't come from always giving. It comes from knowing when to withdraw and make her feel the weight of your absence. Part 1. The illusion of control crumbles in your absence. When you're always around, always available, always the first to reach out, always ready to respond, it becomes easy for her to take your presence for granted. You start to blend into the background, like a fixture that's always there but no longer noticed. You go from being a choice, someone she values, to a constant, someone she just expects. The moments she used to cherish become routine, predictable, almost like clockwork. She can anticipate your every move, your every word, and worst of all, she starts to believe you'll always be there, no matter what. But the moment you step back, the second you go silent and vanish from her emotional radar, everything changes. That constant, predictable presence you offered her, it disappears, and in its place, uncertainty takes root. For the first time, she's left wondering where she stands with you. What happened? Why the silence? Where did you go? All those thoughts, that uncertainty, those are powerful emotions. You see, it's not just about what you give, it's about what you withhold. The moment you stop giving her the comfort of your constant availability, you've taken away her sense of control over you. The illusion of certainty that she once had begins to unravel, and in that space, everything she thought she understood about the connection begins to slip away. And that's where real power lies, not in what you offer, but in what you choose to take away. The absence itself becomes the message, and it shifts the entire dynamic. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. Part 3. Women remember men who vanish without noise. There's something unforgettable about a man who knows when to disappear. It's not the guy who's always there, constantly showing up, trying to prove his value. It's not the one who makes a big show of his presence, always seeking attention or validation. The man who truly leaves a lasting impact is the one who steps away quietly, almost like a ghost, without drama, without bitterness, but with an undeniable strength. That's the kind of presence that stays with her, even long after you've gone. When you vanish without a sound, your absence becomes more than just a void. It becomes a mirror. It forces her to reflect, to sit with herself, to reevaluate everything. There's no distraction from your presence, no noise, no reassurance. All she has left is her own thoughts and emotions. She'll find herself questioning, what happened? Where did he go? What did I do wrong? And that's where the real power begins. It's not in constantly proving your worth or chasing her validation. True power lies in making her question her own worth, to wonder if she ever truly understood the value of what she had. It's in the space you create when you leave, because your absence isn't just a lack of presence, it's a challenge. It forces her to miss you, to reevaluate what you brought into her life, and to see things from a different perspective. When you leave without making a scene, without demanding attention or seeking her approval, you plant a seed of doubt in her mind. And that seed grows, making her question not only what she's lost, but whether she was ever truly worthy of your attention in the first place. It's the quiet men who leave the loudest impact, because when you're not fighting to prove yourself, your absence speaks volumes about the value you bring, and she'll remember that long after you've gone. Part 4. Absence makes your value crystal clear. Let's get real for a second. As long as you're always available, always at her beck and call, always the one who reaches out first, she never has to stop and truly assess your value. You're a constant in her life, predictable, secure, and expected. But when you're always there, your presence becomes background noise, something she doesn't fully appreciate because it's just always there. There's no need for her to consider how much you bring to the table when you're constantly filling it. Now imagine you take that away. You remove yourself from the picture, and suddenly she's faced with the reality of life without you. The absence of your presence, your energy, and your masculine stillness creates a void. It's a void she never thought she'd feel. She starts to realize what it's like to be without the steady influence you once provided. And that silence, it speaks louder than any grand gesture or love letter you could ever send. Absence forces awareness. It makes her realize what she's missing, what she took for granted. When you're no longer there to fill every moment with your attention or energy, she has no choice but to notice your absence. It's in that space where she begins to truly appreciate you, not because you're trying to prove yourself, but because she has to experience what it's like to not have you around. That awareness, that realization of your value is what fuels genuine appreciation. And when she finally recognizes your worth, after the silence, after the absence, that appreciation is rooted in something deeper. It's not about the consistency you provided, it's about the strength and the rarity of your presence. You've made her aware of how much you truly bring to her world, and that kind of appreciation is something that sticks. It's the kind of respect that can only be earned when you're not constantly offering yourself, but instead creating a space where she has to come to the conclusion on her own. Part 5. Most men fear disappearing. That's why it works. Here's the thing most guys don't get. The reason why pulling back works is because most men are terrified of it. They fear disappearing. They fear that if they step back, she'll forget them, that she'll move on, or that someone else will take their place. It's a deep-rooted insecurity, this fear of being replaced. But what they don't realize is that their neediness, their constant pursuit for validation is far louder than any love they could give. Neediness is a repellent, not an attraction. When you're constantly chasing her, always available, always seeking her attention and approval, you send the message that you have nothing else going on in your life but her, that you're emotionally dependent, hanging on to her for your sense of self-worth. And that pushes her away, no matter how much you think you're proving your affection. It's not love. It's desperation, and desperation isn't attractive. It tells her that you're so emotionally invested in her that you'll tolerate anything just to keep her around. But when you decide to disappear, to remove yourself without explanation, without warning, you're sending a much stronger message. You're not running after her. You're not begging for attention. Instead, you're saying, I don't chase what doesn't value me. I protect my energy. I am the prize. That shift in your behavior, it's a game changer. Suddenly she feels the weight of your absence, and that's when the shift begins to happen. She starts to realize that you're not just another guy she can take for granted. You're rare. You're someone who won't settle for being undervalued, and that's when she understands. She was holding something truly valuable, something unique, and now it's slipping through her fingers. She's been given a taste of what life could be like without you in it, and it forces her to reevaluate everything. That realization that she may have lost something irreplaceable shakes her in a way that no amount of begging or pleading ever would. She begins to see you differently, and that's the shift that makes all the difference. When you walk away without a word, you force her to recognize what she had, and that's the kind of realization that sticks. Part 6. How to use absence as a statement, not a strategy. Here's the crucial distinction. Your absence should never be used as a manipulative tool. It's not about playing games or trying to make her feel bad. It's not about disappearing to punish her for any misstep. If that's your goal, you're missing the point entirely. The real power behind stepping back is not about hurting her. It's about recalibrating yourself and reclaiming your own energy, your sense of self, and your value. If she's playing games, constantly testing your patience, throwing hot and cold signals, or pushing your boundaries, don't engage in the drama. Don't try to chase her or match her energy. Instead, go silent. Pull back. The goal isn't to punish her, but to create a space where she has to come to terms with your absence, to sit with her own feelings, and to reevaluate the dynamic. You're not trying to manipulate the situation. You're protecting your peace, your worth, and your time. If she's testing your value, don't try to prove it. Show her how peaceful your life can be without her in it. Let her see that your happiness and sense of self don't depend on her presence. The man who can walk away without a word, without drama, is the man who holds power. He doesn't need to make a scene to prove his worth. He simply removes himself from situations that don't honor him. Your absence becomes your statement. It says, I was here. You felt me. Now I'm gone. And you'll never forget what I took with me. That silence isn't empty. It's full of meaning. It speaks volumes without a single word being exchanged. The man who can walk away in peace, who doesn't chase, who doesn't need to be heard, owns the room even when he's not physically in it. His presence is felt even when he's silent, and that's a power that leaves a lasting impression. Part 7. What she feels after you're gone. In the beginning, she may act like it's nothing. She'll go on with her life, posting on social media, laughing with friends, pretending that your absence doesn't affect her. It's all a front. She'll put on the mask of being unaffected, maybe even convincing herself that she's fine without you. But don't be fooled, time will tell. Soon the silence will begin to weigh on her. The void you left behind will start to expand, and that's when reality sets in. The absence of your presence will start to seep in, and she'll begin to feel the absence of something real. She'll realize that you weren't just another guy in the mix, another face in the crowd. No, you were something different. You were the one who stayed calm when she was emotional, the one who listened when her world was chaotic. You were the one who didn't need her, but chose her, and that's a powerful distinction. As time passes, she'll begin to miss the steady presence you provided, the calm you brought when everything else felt turbulent. She'll realize that you offered something deeper, something she took for granted when you were always around. And that realization will hit her every time someone else falls short, every time someone else can't match your level of emotional intelligence, your strength, or your peace. You set the bar, and now, without you, she'll measure every other connection against what you brought to the table. And every time someone else fails to live up to that standard, she'll remember you. She'll remember how you made her feel, how you handled her highs and lows, and how you made her feel seen and heard without needing anything in return. Your absence forces her to reflect on your value, and in doing so, it makes her realize just how much you contributed to her life. Part 8. The comeback is never the same. If she comes back, and many do, it won't be with the same energy she once had. There's a shift in the dynamic when you disappear and don't chase after her. She'll come back softer, more careful, more respectful, because now, deep down, she understands that you're not emotionally tied to her. You're not desperate for her validation. You're not afraid of being alone. You've shown her that your peace is non-negotiable, and that, my friend, is what makes you rare. She felt your presence when you were there. She got used to it, perhaps even took it for granted. But when you left, When you disappeared without a word, she had to sit with the absence of something she didn't fully appreciate until it was gone. And now, having survived your absence, she knows she can't take you for granted again. She'll think twice before risking it, because she now realizes you can walk away. And not only that, you will walk away if your boundaries aren't respected. So remember this, you don't need to yell, you don't need to beg, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. All you need to do is leave. Leave with strength, leave with peace, leave without creating a storm. Because the most dangerous power you possess is not in what you say or do, but in what you choose to withhold. When you disappear without a sound, you send a message that is heard loud and clear. You're telling her that your worth isn't up for negotiation, that you will not fight for someone who doesn't value you. Your absence becomes the loudest statement of all, and that echo, that silence, will haunt her. Be the man who can walk away without ever looking back, because when your absence speaks louder than her games, that's when you know you've already won. You've taken control without lifting a finger, without raising your voice, and that's where true power lies. You don't need to chase, you simply need to be, and when you choose yourself, she'll feel the weight of that decision long after you're gone. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If this message spoke to you or gave you something to think about, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new drop. I've got more real talk, more growth, and more power coming your way. So stay locked in. And if you're going through something right now, just remember, your silence can say more than 1,000 words ever could. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.